Hey, Calvary Chapel family. Today we'll be reading out of issue 101. The title of the story is Brooklyn Comes to Rural North Carolina. Story written by Kathy Szymborski. After tossing his gun into a nearby Florida lake, Mike Berner drove his Harley-Davidson to the nearest payphone. He punched in a number to the crime family he worked for. When his best friend answered, Mike proclaimed in his Brooklyn accent, "Tell Joe I'm out. I got saved. I'm going to serve Jesus." His friend responded, "You did what? That won't be well received." Just moments before, Mike had become a born-again believer at Calvary Chapel, Fort Lauderdale. Recruiting a disciple. Now pastor of Calvary Chapel, Lake Norman, Mike fled New York City when then Mayor Rudy Giuliani cracked down on organized crime in the mid-1990s. He and a few of his friends relocated to Florida in 1996 to start a new chapter of the criminal enterprise he was associated with. During a Sunday morning bike ride, he spotted a motorcycle club whose colors he didn't recognize and followed them to a warehouse, intending to recruit. The group was a motorcycle outreach of CC Fort Lauderdale. Mike went inside and heard the scriptures taught in a way he had never heard before. Inexplicably drawn, he returned Wednesday night and gave his life to Christ. God had recruited him. Later that night, as Mike walked to the door of his home, he heard a car turn the corner and bullets sprayed in his direction. He knew it was an attempt on his life. As the car drove away, he identified the shooter as a man in his former crew. Of the 17 rounds fired from a semi-automatic gun, only one hit him in the right shoulder. That would be the last assassination attempt on Mike's life. Over time, many in that crime family would either die or be imprisoned. The God who outdoes. Located in the small city of Statesville, North Carolina, CC Lake Norman sits along a scenic avenue where the church's tall steeple competes with mature oaks stretching skyward over the nearly 70-year-old brick structure. Abandoned for 7 years, the once stately Presbyterian church was in severe disrepair when Mike felt the Lord speak to his heart. "This is where I want you." After much prayer and arguing with God, I submitted to his plan. All the while thinking this was going to be our ruin, Mike recalled. The dilapidated church had no heat or air conditioning. The pipes froze in the winter. In the summer, humidity peeled the paint off the walls. It was an extensive rebuild, and we were not capable of doing it, Mike added. The property's price, $900,000, was out of reach for the small congregation, let alone the $1.2 million to connect to the county's sewer system. Yet the Lord did incredible work. We had over 100 volunteers show up every day, people that didn't even attend our church, and we opened 5 weeks later, he recounted. In 2015, the congregation began with a rent-to-purchase agreement, and 4 years later, they secured a loan. At that time, they were able to purchase additional property with a large building, giving them a 17-acre parcel. Every time I think God is done, and he can't outdo himself, he does, exclaimed Mike. The seeming impossibility of this New Yorker with a shady criminal past ministering to Southerners in the sleepy burg seemed incongruent for growth. However, Mike's imposing gangster-like appearance and innate drive to achieve results are tempered by his genuine love for his family, his congregation, and for the very least in the community. As people of various backgrounds and ages flock to hear his expositional teaching, the CC Lake Norman family continues to expand as they minister to the unique needs of those around them. An agnostic Muslim meets Jesus. Jamal grew up in the United States in a moderate Sunni Muslim Somali household. At 15, as he questioned his faith, his family began physically and emotionally abusing him. Jamal ran away, and local authorities placed him in a teen shelter while he navigated emancipation. He completed high school with no contact from his family, but as he walked across the graduation stage, he saw his mother in the front row. After the ceremony, she convinced him to come home. Jamal agreed. Walking down the basement stairs of his family home, he heard the lock click behind him. He knew he had been set up when he saw every male in his family, along with a Muslim religious leader, in the room. They interrogated him, accused him of being demon-possessed, and violently beat him. He was able to escape, but his family declared him an infidel. Jamal said, "There is no unconditional love in Islam. Your family, they love and care about you. The second you start to deviate from the religion, that love is gone. You are no longer kin to them." For the next 17 years, Jamal was agnostic about spiritual matters, until one Saturday when he heard the need for salvation through Christ at C.C. Lake Norman's youth car wash. Following leader Sterling El Masri's invitation to listen to an online sermon, Jamal went home only to immediately return with questions. After talking with Assistant Pastor Isaiah Berner, Jamal was stirred to attend church the next day, giving his life to Christ. Under the Holy Spirit's conviction, Jamal broke up with his girlfriend, who refused to consider Jamal's new faith. He exchanged his old friends for Christian fellowship and lost 130 pounds over 7 months, a total life transformation by Christ. Jamal was instrumental in leading his best friend Sai, a former Hindu, to Christ. Both men enthusiastically serve at Calvary Chapel, Lake Norman. Feeding the least of these. A 5-minute drive from the church, the impoverished south side of Statesville is laden with drug use and crime. Mike recognizes the neighborhood is suffering. It's a small area, about 12 to 14 blocks, but has some of the worst crime in the U.S. We used to send a team there every Saturday to preach. Now people from that community come to our food pantry. Every Saturday, a group of volunteers who run Storehouse 310, Calvary Chapel Lake Norman's food ministry, serve 60 to 80 families by handing out and delivering groceries. They also share the gospel and attempt to pray with each person. Volunteers keep notes on what they should pray for so that when the individual returns, they are able to follow up. People don't care what you know until people know that you care, explained Mike. We minister to the least of these. We are a church of the least of these. The Michael Davis House. Michael Davis was an angry homeless man who gave his life to Christ after attending C.C. Lake Norman. Once he experienced the love of Jesus, his attitude and countenance drastically changed. With the church's help, he obtained a car and a job. Unfortunately, after sleeping in his car a few nights, Mike became sick and passed away. Pastor Mike then decided to build a home for men who needed to overcome life-controlling issues while seeking a deeper relationship with Christ. Miraculously, a company offered to build and furnish the entire project, a 2,800 square foot home with 6 bedrooms, a kitchen, and an outdoor area with beautiful walking trails. Mike named it the Michael Davis House. While the house was being built, the need waned for a men's program. When Mike, seeing a growing number of women, some needing housing and/or rescue from sex trafficking, he quickly pivoted, transitioning their outreach to women. As part of a group in Charlotte, North Carolina that offers tangible help for women, Mike explained, "We'll often speak with the women, give them a place to stay, and care for them while they get their minds back together." The team from C.C. Lake Norman finds ways to house the women dealing with sex trafficking with the Charlotte group, but uses the Michael Davis House for women dealing with unplanned pregnancies or homelessness. Once these women are ready to move on, the house will revert back for use by men in need. The Life Center. The 20,000 square foot building on the additional property of C.C. Lake Norman, purchased in 2020, was built in the late 1890s, prior to current building code. The untended brick structure with its white, looming porch pillars resembles a college campus dormitory, well suited to Mike's vision. The Troutman Life Center is for women with crisis pregnancies, those rescued from sex trafficking, and girls without necessary life skills who are transitioning out of foster care into society. Program Director Kim Sumner describes the Life Center as a place for restoration. It provides ultrasounds for pregnant moms to meet their unborn children, medical care, food, housing, job, and life skills training, and biblical discipleship and counseling. Lacking life skills, Brittany Evans arrived at the center in April 2023, grateful to have found help after becoming homeless. Since then, she has acquired a driver's license, secured a job after the church blessed her with a car, and looks forward to getting her own apartment soon. They helped me set up a budget, open a savings account, and taught me how to make meals, Brittany shared. Most importantly, she is joyful to be serving the Lord in church and ministry and spending more time in the Word and doing devotionals. Kim affirmed, "The greatest need that these women have is to be anchored in real spiritual hope that will enable them to have purpose in their lives, peace over their circumstances, and with a promise for life everlasting with their Creator." While Brittany is thankful to everyone who helped her, she sees Kim as her spiritual mother. With Kim's help, it has been easy accomplishing my goals. She is such a blessing. I thank the Lord for placing her in my life. Mike pointed out that this center is a work of God, accepting no government funds. Currently, there is no cost to the women because of the abundance of donations. Matthew 10:8b says, "Freely you have received, freely give," and that's what we've done, he said. Major renovations continue on the building that will contain 32 bedrooms and a large commercial kitchen. We are hoping to have doors open, lights on, and be fully functional within 18 months, Mike forecasted. Calvary Chapel Academy, training children. Since 2017, Calvary Chapel Lake Norman has offered Christian education for preschool through middle school. Mike's wife and principal of Calvary Chapel Academy Lobby feels the Lord called them to offer Christ-centered education to the community. She cautioned, "We are living in a very dark day, and this is a time to really consider what God has called us to as parents and administrators. We are called to train up these children in a way that they should go." Preston and Ashley Wilson have 3 young children attending Calvary Chapel Academy. They attest to the fruit of this ministry in their lives. It is mind-blowing what they can do at their age with reading, memorizing Bible verses, and doing tough math problems. The Wilsons, wanting to avoid anti-biblical teaching of public education, feel reassured that their children are in a safe and caring place. It is a blessing that teachers are so nurturing and loving. You feel that they would raise them up as their own, Ashley stated. Anticipating school growth, Mike revealed, "There is a property close by we want to purchase to expand the middle school, add a high school, and maybe even a Bible college," he continued. "I won't say we are in the middle of a massive revival, but at the same time, I won't say we are not. The Lord is doing something. A better way." Passionate about saving lives, Mike describes abortion as the greatest tragedy of our lifetime. Assistant Pastor Isaiah, Mike's son, shares his dad's vision to end abortion. "No one is joyful, no one is hopeful going into an abortion center, but many times it seems like that's their last and only option. When we are standing there as counselors of light, as representatives of Jesus Christ, we are saying that there is a better way," Isaiah offered. Citing Isaiah 41, he emphasizes that the Life Center is a place where the hopeless will experience healing and new life in Jesus Christ. Mike encourages sister churches to come alongside in the fight to end against abortion, welcoming teams to help build up the property. "When the day a woman comes to you who is pregnant, has nowhere to turn, and send her here. We pick her up. We'll take it from here," he explained. In hopes other Calvary chapels would open life centers, Mike offered, "If you want to send someone down to train, we would love for you to come. You don't need experience, you just need the Lord." Amazed at what God has done through his life, Mike gives him all the glory. "I look back on my life, and God had nothing to work with yet. He is using me in this incredible ministry. And when I am gone off this rock to be with my Savior, it will continue. It is not about one man or one family. It's about God's people doing God's work. And it's wonderful being a part of it.